For thousands of years, almost everyone has believed the same story. Pandora opened a mysterious box and unleashed every evil into the world. Her name became a symbol of disaster, curiosity, and humanity's greatest mistake. But what if almost everything you've heard about Pandora is wrong? What if she never opened a box at all? And what if she was never meant to be the villain? The oldest Greek myths tell a far more disturbing story. They reveal that Pandora was not the creator of humanity's suffering, but a carefully crafted instrument in a plan designed by Zeus himself. Long before she ever touched the famous jar, her destiny had already been decided by the king of the gods. To understand why one innocent woman became one of history's most misunderstood figures, we must return to the moment after Prometheus stole fire from Olympus, a single act that changed the fate of every human being forever and set Zeus's revenge into motion. After Prometheus brought divine fire to humanity, Zeus was consumed with fury. He refused to punish only the Titan who had defied him. Instead, he decided that every man and woman would share the consequences of that stolen gift. Yet rather than sending another storm, another flood, or another army from Olympus, Zeus chose something far more subtle and far more devastating. He ordered the Olympian gods to create the first woman. One by one, each deity offered an extraordinary gift. Aphrodite granted breathtaking beauty. Athena blessed her with intelligence, skill, and graceful hands. Hermes filled her with charm, curiosity, and a persuasive voice capable of winning anyone's trust. Every blessing made Pandora appear more perfect than any mortal who had ever lived. Yet behind every divine gift hid a purpose she could never see. She believed she had been created to live among humanity, unaware that Zeus had already chosen her to become the final piece in a punishment that would change the world forever. Although Pandora had been created by the Olympian gods, she had no memory of the purpose behind her existence. To her, every divine gift seemed like a blessing rather than part of a carefully designed plan. She believed the gods had simply prepared her for a new life among humanity. Zeus then entrusted Hermes with leading Pandora from Olympus into the world of mortals. The messenger of the gods guided her across mountains, forests, and valleys until they finally approached the home of Prometheus, the brother of Prometheus. Unlike his wise brother, Prometheus had always been known for acting first and thinking later. Long before this day, Prometheus had warned him never to accept any gift sent by Zeus, no matter how beautiful or harmless it appeared. But standing before him now was someone unlike anyone he had ever seen. Pandora smiled with kindness, unaware that every step she had taken toward his home had already been written into Zeus's plan long before she was ever created. The moment Prometheus looked into Pandora's eyes, every warning his brother had given him seemed to disappear. Her beauty was extraordinary, but it was not beauty alone that captured his heart. She spoke with warmth, intelligence, and gentle curiosity, making every conversation feel effortless. Convinced that the gods had blessed him with an unexpected companion, Prometheus welcomed Pandora into his home without hesitation. For a time, nothing seemed unusual. Their days passed peacefully, and Pandora began discovering the simple joys of mortal life. Yet inside the house stood one object unlike anything else. Resting quietly in a secluded corner was an enormous sealed clay jar, unlike any vessel Pandora had ever seen. No one spoke about it. No one explained where it had come from. Each passing day, however, her curiosity grew stronger. Without realizing it, Pandora had already begun walking toward the moment Zeus had been waiting for since the day Prometheus stole fire from Olympus. At first, Pandora tried to ignore the strange clay jar. Each morning she passed it without asking questions, convincing herself that it was simply another ordinary object inside the house. Yet the silence surrounding it only made the mystery grow stronger. Why had no one ever spoken about it? Why did Prometheus always change the subject whenever her eyes wandered toward the sealed vessel? Day after day, curiosity slowly replaced caution. Finally, unable to resist any longer, Pandora approached the enormous jar and gently placed her hands upon its heavy lid. For a brief moment, she hesitated. Nothing around her suggested danger. The room remained peaceful, and the world outside seemed unchanged. Believing there could be no harm in looking inside, Pandora slowly lifted the lid. In an instant, darkness burst into the air. Invisible forces rushed from the jar like a violent storm, spreading sickness, suffering, fear, hatred, and despair across the world. The punishment Zeus had prepared for humanity had finally begun. Terrified by what she had unleashed, Pandora slammed the heavy lid shut as quickly as she could. The cries of the escaping spirits echoed around her before silence returned to the house. Shaking with fear, she looked inside the jar once more and discovered that only one thing had remained: hope. For centuries, this final detail has puzzled historians and philosophers alike. Some ancient Greeks believed Zeus allowed hope to remain, so humanity would always find the strength to endure even the darkest suffering. Others reached a far more unsettling conclusion. They argued that hope itself was part of the punishment, keeping people alive with promises of a better tomorrow, while forcing them to endure endless hardship. Even today, no one knows which interpretation the original myth intended. What remained inside Pandora's jar may have been humanity's greatest comfort, or Zeus's most ingenious cruelty of all. For nearly 2,000 years, people around the world have called this story Pandora's Box. The phrase appears in books, movies, psychology, politics, and everyday conversation, becoming a symbol of releasing irreversible consequences. Yet there is one surprising problem. Pandora never opened a box at all. In the oldest surviving Greek texts, written by the poet Hesiod nearly 3,000 years ago, the object was described as a pythos, a massive clay storage jar commonly found in homes throughout ancient Greece. These enormous vessels were used to store grain, olive oil, wine, and other valuable supplies, and many were almost as tall as the people who owned them. They looked nothing like the small wooden box that modern audiences imagine today. So how did one of history's most famous jars become a box? The answer has nothing to do with Greek mythology itself. Instead, it began centuries later with a single translation that quietly reshaped one of the world's most famous legends forever. During the Renaissance, the Dutch scholar Erasmus translated the ancient Greek myth into Latin. While doing so, he replaced the original word pythos, meaning a large clay jar, with the word pyxis, which referred to a small decorative box often used to store jewelry or precious objects. That single decision changed everything. Artists, writers, and publishers across Europe repeated the new version without questioning it, and soon, paintings began showing Pandora holding elegant wooden chests instead of enormous clay vessels. Over the centuries, the phrase Pandora's box became so famous that the original jar was almost completely forgotten. Yet this was not the only misunderstanding that survived. Pandora herself gradually became remembered as the woman who brought evil into the world. But the oldest myths tell a far more tragic story. She never created the punishment, never understood Zeus's plan, and never chose the role she was forced to play. Like humanity itself, Pandora may have been only another victim of the king of the gods' revenge. More than 3,000 years have passed since the story of Pandora was first told. Yet its message continues to shape the modern world. The expression, "opening Pandora's box," is now used whenever a single decision creates consequences that can never be undone. Scientists use it when discussing dangerous discoveries. Politicians invoke it during international crises. Journalists describe technological breakthroughs, artificial intelligence, and genetic engineering with the very same words. The myth has become far more than an ancient legend. It reminds us that curiosity has always carried both extraordinary promise and unimaginable risk. Without curiosity, humanity would never have discovered fire, medicine, or the stars. Yet every great discovery also brings new responsibilities and dangers. Perhaps that is why the story of Pandora has survived for so many centuries. It asks a question that every generation must answer for itself. Should fear prevent us from seeking knowledge, or is curiosity simply part of what makes us human? Today, Pandora is still remembered as the woman who supposedly released evil into the world. Yet after returning to the oldest Greek sources, that image becomes far less certain. She did not create the jar. She did not invent the curse. She did not design Zeus's revenge, nor did she fully understand the role she had been forced to play. In many ways, Pandora's story mirrors humanity itself. We are born into a world shaped by choices we never made, yet we are often judged by the consequences that follow. Perhaps the greatest tragedy of the myth is not that Pandora opened the jar, but that history remembered only her curiosity, while forgetting the gods who planned everything from the beginning. And maybe that is why this ancient legend still feels so relevant today. Because sometimes the people blamed for changing history are not its true authors at all. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story behind Pandora, don't forget to subscribe. There are many more forgotten myths and hidden histories waiting to be explored.